This is a video update for the backers of my Kickstarter campaign that I launched a few months ago. If you want to learn about the campaign, I put a link here in the description of the video, but this video is mainly targeted and made for the backers of my campaign to give them some updates for production, logistics, and some details about the new designs that I've been doing. And also I wanted to get their feedback in terms of some of the options that they can opt into before they receive their rewards. So I'm just gonna jump into the headlines for this update. So the first part of the update, I want to go through the NVMe adapter options that they can choose, and there's some update on the M-key to AE key adapter design that I have basically made some design improvements, and also I've made some design improvements to the NVMe adapter option. So I'm going to go through those. I'll give you an update on the logistics, the things that I have already submitted to the factory. They're already being made. And then there's one missing part that I still have to send to the factory to get it made. And some updates of the units that have been shipped already, and details regarding that. So let's jump right in with the NVMe options. So I got a bunch of boards in front of me. I'm going to go through them. So to give you a little bit of a context here, I have the Raspberry Pi 4 and the 5 here. So one big change going from the Pi 4 to Pi 5 is this PCIe connector here that allows you to connect an NVMe adapter or a PCIe peripheral to your Raspberry Pi 5. And for that, you need an extra board. So there are a bunch of different options in the market. I have designed my own NVMe adapter board. So this is Ubo's own design. So I've designed this adapter board, and I'm in the process of making some more of these. And I have updated the new design, which has added a bunch of new features. But I'm also offering some other options to my Kickstarter backers. So I'm going to go through these other additional options, and you can make modifications to your pledges and rewards to basically take advantage of these additional options. Okay, so basically this is the Raspberry Pi official NVMe adapter. So this one sits on the top of Raspberry Pi. So this gets assembled here, and then the drive sits on the top of the Pi. So my design basically is designed so that it would go under the Pi. So the drive would sit here. I think this would, yeah. The drive would sit here under the Pi. The drive would connect here, and it supports different form factors. So it would be 2030, 2042, 2060, which is not very common, and then 2080, which is the full-size drive. But the Raspberry Pi official hat only supports the 2030, the smaller one, and the 20. This is the 2030 drive that I have here. This form factor, and also it supports the slightly larger form factor, which is the 2242 drive. So one of the advantages of going with this design is just you can drop in longer drives, and then it also frees up the space on the top of the Pi for hats in our case, which is the Ubo Top HAT, but basically it doesn't occupy any space above Raspberry Pi. So I'm gonna set the default one aside, and then there are a few other options here. So I'm offering 3 more options to my Kickstarter backers. So one of them is the NVMe Base from Pimoroni. So I have around 50 of these in stock already, and I'm selling them on my Ubo Shopify page. So these are kind of affordable option, but for there's a big difference between this one and my design. So this is the design from Pimoroni, and this is my design. And the big difference here is that the drive with this one gets sandwiched between the Pi and the NVMe adapter board. So this would kind of go like this. So the drive would be in between the Pi. So it's going to be the drive and the board and the Pi on the top of that. And that means that every time you want to access the drive, you have to remove the assembly, to remove the drive, to put it back in, which adds some extra steps, but it may not be a big deal for a lot of people. A lot of people may just want to just put in the drive, assemble it, and never take it out. So if you have backed the Ubo Pro 5 with no additional add-ons, this would be actually something that you want to consider, because with the default enclosure, there's no quick access way to access the drive, and you can just have this add-on here. So this will go inside the case like this. You're gonna assemble your drive, and then you're gonna assemble the Pi on the top of that. And so this would be a very affordable option. I think I'm selling this for $12 or something like that on my Shopify. I'm gonna include a link. But for those who have pledged for Ubo Pro with no additional add-ons, you may probably want to consider this configuration, because with Pi 5 you really want to boot from NVMe, not from an SD card, and this will be an affordable option, because with this option you do not need to 3D print the base tray. So the base tray for this one does not require quick access. So we have two different designs for the base cover. So let me show you this one here. So there are two different designs for the base cover. This is kind of the default mass-produced base cover that does not have quick access feature. So the quick access feature allows you to remove this piece of the base cover for quick access to NVMe drive. So this is the recommended base cover for the NVMe Base or HAB that comes with Ubo. So if you have backed Ubo Pro and added the base NVMe from Ubo, you could 3D print this base yourself. So we're going to make the STL file available for self 3D printing, but a lot of the backers have also added this to their rewards, and they're going to get both, and their Ubo pod is going to kind of arrive like this with this configuration. So with this one, you can quickly drop in a drive and remove a drive easily, so you don't have to like disassemble your Ubo pod in order to remove the drive or put in a new one. So this will add some additional cost, of course, because you need to purchase a separate base cover or 3D print it yourself. So it adds some overhead, I guess. So if you don't mind assembling your Pi like this with this NVMe, put the drive in and never take it out, I think this would be a good option for the Pro 5 version. And you can add this to your reward before shipping. You just like, let me know I want to add this one, and then when I send you the link for paying the shipping fee, you can also add this one to your reward right before we send the reward to you. So this is an option from from Pimoroni. So you can eat. This is the packaging that it comes with, and it's an affordable option for those who want an affordable upgrade. They don't want the base cover with the quick access, and so this would be one option. So there are also two other options from Cedo Studio. So Cedo Studio has these NVMe Base with 2 drives, so you can drop in 2 drives. So like you can have 1 drive and 2 drives attached, and the good thing with the Cedo Studio NVMe Base is that similar to Ubo Pod Base, it has a similar configuration. So the Pi goes like this, and then both of them are kind of accessible from under the device, and it also works with the configuration, with the quick access cover that we have here. So you can access both drives here from under the device, and it's compatible with Ubo enclosure and everything. So this is also another option if you want to swap. Like let's say you know that you want to drop in 2 drives, you can tell me that I don't want this one that I added to my reward. I want to swap it or change it with this option, it's going to be a little bit extra, so in terms of the cost, but I want to offer that as an option for people who want to drop in 2 drives instead of 1 drive. So with the C2 Studio, there are 2 options here. So they look exactly the same. If I bring these closer, the silk screen print is a bit different. So this one says PCIe 3.0, and then this one says PCIe, just PCIe. So what does that mean? So these NVMe HABs or NVMe bases, they have an IC. These ICs are PCIe packet switch ICs, and basically these ICs allow connecting 2 different peripherals with 2 different lanes to a single lane, so they're kind of like a lane split. They split 1 lane to 2 lanes, and they allow for this kind of packet switching over PCIe. But the thing is that the PCIe 3 version is quite expensive. This sells for about $60, so it's a very expensive piece of hardware, and it has these kind of pogo pins to provide extra power from Raspberry Pi to this. So with the flex cable here, you can kind of provide, the Pi can provide maybe 10 watt of power maximum, but if you put in 2 drives and drawing a lot of current, especially with the PCIe switch, you're gonna have to need to provide more power from Pi to this one. So they added these like pogo pins. I'm gonna come closer, and then you can see here the pogo pins here. So yeah, this is one option. It's quite expensive. I wouldn't recommend this as an entry-level board. This is around, I think, $60 price point, and these are like PCIe 2 switches, PCIe 2 boards. So the speed between these 2 drives like will go over PCIe 2. So you're gonna have 2 drives here. Each of them are gonna share PCIe 2 bandwidths between each other. So so that your upstream link from here to Raspberry Pi is PCIe 2, which is, I think, is like 0.5 gigabit per second, like 500 megabit per second, and then that 500 megabit per second gets shared between 2 drives. And it's not ideal, but in many cases, if you really want to drop in 2 devices, this will be a good option. Similar to the PCIe 3 version, this one has also the pogo pins, and to provide extra power from the Pi to both drives. So this one, I have the same exact configuration here, has 2 drives, and you may want to consider this option. So please comment in the video, say I want this option or not. I'm gonna loop back. You can just say your backer number, or also on the Kickstarter update, you can mention that. I'm gonna go look at all the comments on the YouTube video and also on the Kickstarter updates link. I look at all the comments. You can message me directly, just express your interest of if you want to like switch or upgrade to any of these options. Just let me know. So I just want to provide these options. So one advantage of switching to these updates is that I will be able to ship your unit probably a little bit faster, because I'm waiting for the new boards coming in for this design, and these I already have in stock. And for some of, like, I'm still waiting for some other parts, but that could be one advantage of like up this. It's like you're gonna get your order a little bit faster if you go with these options, than probably by a few weeks. But overall, like, this is not going to take much longer either. All right, so let's go to the next topic, which is my design improvements. So I have made several design improvements to this board, and I've made it more modular for DIY upgrades down the road. So one update that I did to this board is that, so if you look here, I'm using a power module. So this is a buck converter module. It steps down 5 volts from the FBC cable down to 3.3 volts, which is needed by the hard drive. the NVMe drive or the peripheral that you drop in here. And this one can provide maybe 2 amp maximum. So you're looking at like 3.3 times 2. It's like 7-ish watt. So you can provide 7 watts to one drive. It is typically like more than enough for many drives, but let's say you want to drop in some PCIe peripheral that can draw more current and more wattage than 7 or 8 watts. So this module can be a bit limiting. So what I did was that I upgraded the module to this module. So this is the new module that I'm using on the new design. And this is a mini 560 module. It can provide up to 5 amp of output. So 3.3 times 5, you're looking at something like 617 watt of output power. And obviously you cannot pass 17 watt of output power through the FPC cable. So for that reason, I have also added some power options so that you can power up the board through pogo pins if you want to go with a higher option. So similar to this design here, this is the City Studio design. I've added pogo pin options. I won't be properly populating the pogo pins initially. You can DIY assemble them if you want, but I will probably populate them on some of the trims. So this is still kind of experimental, the pogo pins options. The pogo pins that I have sourced, they have kind of round tips, but the City Studio has kind of like a flat tip, which is better for providing better connectivity with the Raspberry Pi pins from under the board. So this is kind of experimental feature. There's also an option to power the system through a USB-C power delivery. So the new version is gonna have like an option to drop in these like USB-C PD modules. So you can buy these modules from Amazon. I'm gonna include the links in the video here. And I'm gonna also offer these on my Shopify page. They're quite inexpensive modules that you can drop in later to power the system through Power PD. I'm gonna have like a blog post to go through design improvements that I have made here. But yeah, these are the new design improvements that I have done. I hope you like it. There's no additional costs for these design improvements, but it also makes it more modular. There's another option for the new design is that you can drop in a PoE, power over Ethernet optional module. The module won't be included, but you can buy one of these modules and connect them with wires to the NVMe base, and it's gonna power Raspberry Pi through the pogo pins through these PoE modules. So more detailed update through a blog post on the new design, but this is kind of an overview of the new design. What else? Okay, so I've also made some new design update on the AE key adapter. So this is the M-key to AE adapter for Google Corral, or so AI accelerators. So I've done 2 main updates. One is that I would say maybe 3 main updates. So the original design had only broke out 1 PCIe lanes, but I've decided to update that design, and now it passes 2 PCIe lanes from M-key to AE key. This is useful for for Halo 8 and Halo 8L AI accelerators. These modules have 2 PCIe lanes. Even though Raspberry Pi only has 1 PCIe lane, this would be also helpful if you have like a mini PC or something. You want to drop in these adapters, or NVIDIA Jetson Nano. You can also drop in this module in it and use both lanes. But on Raspberry Pi, it doesn't matter because Raspberry Pi has only 1 lane. I've also added kind of like copper, exposed copper surfaces to ensure that this adapter acts as a heatsink. So these modules can get pretty toasty and hot, and with that design change, the PCB itself is going to act like a heatsink and try to dissipate part of the heat. I've also added some brake tabs so that you can reshape these adapters for space constrained devices like NVIDIA Jetson Nano. You can kind of reconfigure this for Jetson Nano. I'm going to go through the detail later in a blog post. But anyways, like there's been a bunch of design improvements. I've also added like a SMD round nut, like the ones here, like that you can screw the adapter to these nuts. So they're threaded nuts, SMD nuts that allows you to screw in an adapter. I'm working with a supplier to source these these screws that you can kind of like connect your drive it out using a, where did I put this board? Okay, this is the official Raspberry Pi hat. And then with these kind of like nuts, you don't need a tool. They're kind of toolless assembly nuts for helping for assembling the drive. I'm working with a supplier to make these screws. Yeah, so that is it so far. Let's see if there are other topics that I haven't covered so far. So I've already shipped 4 units to Kickstarter backers. I'm gonna ship out 20 units in the coming week. So I'm gonna mail, email, or message you guys based on your backer number, and then get your confirmation on adding anything to your reward before it gets shipped out, and then a link to pay for shipping fee. So US shipping fee is flat rate $5, and the international shipping fee is going to be flat rate $25, unless I get a very good rate for the country of destination. I may give you additional discount on that, but I've checked the shipping rates for most international destinations. They go kind of between $23-$24 up to $30. So even if it comes out at $30, I'm not going to charge it at $30. It's going to be capped at $25. I thought it's going to be just easier to cap it, have a flat rate international fee for $25 and $5 for US domestic shipping. Just note that the shipping fee was not included in the reward. When you back the project, we show the range of the shipping fees that you would be charged later during shipping of your reward. And so I'm gonna include a link to pay the shipping fee, and you can add also any add-on or peripheral before your item gets dispatched. Also, there's no additional shipping fee for add-ons or anything that you add to your order. It's going to be flat rate. You just pay that $5, $25, and then you can have additional add-ons or orders added to your order with no additional surcharge on the shipping fee. What else? Okay, so a big thing I forgot. So this top board is the one that is kind of holding things back a bit. I've had some unfortunate turn of events that kind of caused a little bit of disruption in the supply chain of this PCB. So what happened was that I was manufacturing these PCBs in Dongguan with a factory, and that factory had some management changes, and they decided to not work on OEM projects anymore. So I won't be able to work with that factory for making these PCBs anymore. And I've been kind of like switching to a new PCB manufacturer, and I'm in conversation with PCBWay. I'm getting quotes and I'm sending the design files to PCBWay, and I believe I'm gonna go with PCBWay with this board. I cannot work with JLC PCB on this one because I have some specialized components that they do not have it in their library. So I'm gonna be working with PCB Bay, which are kind of reliable and reputable PCB manufacturer and supplier in China. But there was another unfortunate event here that caused disruption, is that the factory that was responsible in making these PCBs also had my inventory of my parts. I had shipped a reel of microphones to China, so I have two microphones here. These are Knowles microphones, and Knowles as a company is no longer around. They they sold part of their microphone division to another company. I don't remember the name right now. And basically these microphones are discontinued. They're not being manufactured anymore. But I bought these microphones from DigiKey several months ago and shipped it to China, but they have lost my reel. That's like a $1,000 worth of components. They have offered to buy these components from me. They said they were sorry. Apparently during the move, some components got misplaced or whatnot. But the problem is that we cannot buy these anymore because they're obsolete. They're not in stock in any of the main suppliers like DigiKey, Mouser, or even China. LCSC does not carry them anymore. So that got me kind of searching for an alternative to these microphones. I found an alternative from Kui Devices or Same Sky. I did some validation. It worked. It was kind of a drop-in replacement. They were a little bit more quiet than these microphones, but they worked, and I need to do a little bit more verification on these new model. So it's a good backup option, than knowing that the Kui Devices microphones or Same Sky, they have rebranded to Same Sky, those microphones work here. I have also found a supplier of kind of black market supplier in China. He said he has a reel with 5,000 components. It's like I met him when I was in China in Huaqiangbei component kind of market, and I had his WeChat, and he has these microphones, but I'm kind of concerned with aftermarket parts. You don't know how they're restored, what the conditions are. They always tell you they're kind of like brand new in sealed, but you never know the quality, and it's a big risk to dropping those components to a full board. So I may buy a small set of those components to do a validation run on these new PCBs. I've also made some design improvements on these PCBs. They're kind of minor improvements for future upgradability or things like that. But basically, this component is one that is kind of has hold the production back a bit. So I'm trying to get this produced and shipped before Chinese New Year, which is kind of first week of February. So we have like 2 weeks to get this made and shipped before Chinese New Year. I may do a small run, maybe 40-50 pieces of this board validated before making more of them because of the microphone issue. So Chinese New Year is going to go from February 7th to February 23rd. It's going to be like a 2-week period. So basically like end of February, people are going to come back in, and worst case scenario, I'm going to do a bigger run, production run after Chinese New Year, but I'm doing my best to have at least a batch made and shipped before Chinese New Year. Yeah, so this is kind of everything that I wanted to run through. Sorry, it became quite a long update, but I wanted to try also this video format. Please let me know if you don't like the video format. If you wanted to do a text format, I'm gonna try to also do like a summary of this video in a text format so you can also read through it. I appreciate your patience. The last update was more than a month ago. I would like to do more updates, but I think with this video updates also makes it easier for me to kind of like go through these details, like showing you stuff. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please definitely let me know in the comment section if you have any questions or concerns. And also on Kickstarter, feel free to message me, email me. I'm available. Also join the Discord channel. I'm gonna put the link to Discord invite in the GitHub description, in the YouTube description link. It's kind of late here, 2 a.m. I'm recording this video, so my brain is a little bit toasted. The software, we've made tremendous progress on the software side. I'm doing a major release in the coming week with a whole new set of features. You can also check my GitHub repository. I'm going to put a link again in the description of the video for the GitHub repo. And yeah, join the Discord community. I'm already in conversation with lots of the members there. It's a good community to chat about ideas or things that you want to implement. I'm always there, kind of on Discord, you know, like, and we can have live chats here and there. Thanks for watching this video, and talk to you guys soon.